Alright, so I just opened up a brand new Rhino file. I'm going to double click on the word top. And in this video, I'm just going to talk about layers and line weights. So I'm just going to just draw a line. Doesn't matter the size or anything. So I just have just one single line. I'm going to draw one more, for example. And right now, if I look at my layers, I can see that they are on the default layer, because that's the one where the check mark is. I'm going to put the check mark on layer 1 by clicking right below it, right where the check mark is. And I can turn the default layer on and off, and I can see my lines start to disappear. If I want to change this line, for example, to layer 1, I just right-click on layer 1 and go to Change Object Layer. And it should turn red because layer 1 is red. Or I can move this line to layer 2. Change Object Layer. And now this one is purple, again because this is purple. If you don't have any layers here, you could always just click on the new layer icon, and it should give you a brand new layer. If you want to change the color of the layer, so like for example, layer 1 is red, but if you want to change it, just click on the square icon and just change it to a different color, and it'll change this to a different color. The one color I would recommend not to select is yellow, because by default, when you select an object, it automatically turns it yellow. So when you normally when you have an object that's on a yellow layer, it gets a little confusing as to know which if you have it selected or not. Another option that becomes really useful when you have different objects in different layers is to start to set up your drawings with a minimum of 3 different layers. I would highly recommend using 5 different layers, but at a minimum 3. So for example, the first one, at minimum I would have like a thin layer. I'm gonna make another one, medium layer, medium thickness. I'm sorry, and a third one, just a thick layer. This is for line weights. I would, at minimum, again, you just want to have at least 3 thicknesses. I would at least go one step further. And I'm going to change this one to extra thin. And I can leave the default as the default. And one thing I can do is I'm going to take both of these lines, I'm just going to copy them. And I'm going to put one on each layer, so I already have one in extra thin, one in thin. I'm going to put this one on the medium, change object layer. I'll put this one on the thick. And I'll put this one on extra thick. I can delete this last one. So now I have 5 different lines, and I'm going to set them up where there's 5 different line thicknesses. And right now, the line thicknesses are all the same. The only difference that I'm really noticing is the colors. And actually, I'm going to turn off my grid. It's a little distracting to have this grid line in the back. So I'm just going to type in grid. And where it says show grid equals yes, I'm going to click on it to say no. Hit enter on my keyboard. I'm just going to move these out of the way. So again, you can see my 5 lines, 5 different colors. But now what I'm going to do is, over here in my layers, I'm going to scroll over, or I can expand this. And I'm going to change the thickness of these layers. So the extra thin, it's over here where it says print width, it says default. I'm going to click on that, And I'm going to select a thin, for example, like a 0.18. And on the thin, I'll select a 0.25. And right now you really don't notice a difference. They pretty much look the same. These diamond shapes, I'm going to make this red, I'm going to make this black. And I'm going to make this black as well. And again, really don't notice a difference because I have to switch it to a different preview mode in order to see that difference. So I'm going to switch it to print preview. And now I can see that these lines are black because these lines are black. These are still blue and green because these diamond shapes are still blue and green. And I'm going to change this last one, so this is 0.18, 0.25. The medium one, I'm going to change it to 0.5, for example. The thick line, I'll change it to let's do a 1. And I'm going to change this to black. And the extra thick line, I will change this to like a 1.4. And again, change this to black. So now I can start to see the difference between my line thicknesses. Right, so I have an extra thin, a medium, a thick, and an extra thick. And they're all being shown in black because my print color is in black. And I can now switch back and forth between print preview, and I can turn this off. And now it shows the regular default colors of my lines. Or if I want to see what they look like with the line thickness, I can now turn this back on.